maintain our independence, objectivity, and regulatory strength. Lack of resources, and in this case fees, have resulted in us having to be very creative in how we recalibrate and use benchmarks. For example, with the recent, if I can call it recent, introduction of IFRS 17 insurance contracts, there are several studies and assessments that need to be augmented in our ranks in order to ensure effective regulation and supervision of the sector. Given the delays, in this case, we haven't had a fee revision since 2008, 18 years, and currently we still don't have it. We have had to be deliberate in our approach and deliberate in our recruitment of new staff and purchasing of new technology. We ask that this committee be mindful of that fact as they look through and assess and approve these fees going forward. These are my few opening comments. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Burrell. I'll ask Ms. Wright from the Ministry of Finance if you want to make any comments in relation to the matters before us this morning.
Morning, Chair. Not much more than what Mr. Burrell has already indicated. Just to also reiterate that FSC operates on a full cost recovery model, and it requires that the revenues are aligned to the regulatory effort. And as he had indicated before, the fees have not been amended since 2008. And when they did their analysis in 2024-25, the estimated costs for supervising the insurance industry total 749 million. However, they only collected 487.2 million. So there was a shortfall of 262.5 million. So from this, Chair, you can see that it is critical that the fees are revised to ensure that FSC can carry out its mandate of supervising the insurance company and also protecting the consumers as well. In terms of the changes to the fees, it should be noted though that for the annual fees, what currently exists is a tiered approach, and what it will be revised to is a standard rate. So it will be revised for both the life insurance companies and also the general insurance companies, which will make it simpler to understand and also simpler to operate. There are also other amendments in terms of application fees and also service fees that are being amended. Some as small as, I think, probably $500 or $1,000 that is added onto the fees. So that, in a nutshell, summarizes what the amendments are.
Okay, thank you very much. Member Williams, Member Williams.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good morning again to the representatives from the FSC and the Ministry of Finance. Just 2 or 3 questions popped up. In terms of these adjustments, I'm not certain there is any requirement to consult, but what's the posture of the industry in relation to these increases, and has there been consultation with the industry? in arriving at these fees, the increases? That's one.
As you asked them. Thank you. So the first question is your consultation. This sector is interesting. The former executive director of the FSC is now the executive director of the Insurance Association. So to say that we are close is an understatement, right? So I think there is more than consultation. Yes. As well, the former president of the IAJ is now the president of the ICAJ. Bearing in mind that I'm also a member of the ICAJ, there is also a tremendous link there. So consultation is ongoing daily, weekly. We have a quarterly meeting. We know each other. Mm-hmm. So the answer is, I would say there might be, it's a joke, but actually it's too much, right? Because we are very, very close. The former head is, so he can call me. Indeed, when I was being onboarded, he's the person who onboarded me. So there is, in terms of concerns, it's just the understanding. There was a consultation paper, and we went through that process. But that's just one consultation. We spoke as it concerns Melissa. We spoke as it concerns past events, burial. We spoke as it concerns COVID. So yes, there's been, I would say, more than any other Melissa. Sector. Sorry.
Yes, I know. I was just saying, of course, I know Melissa. And
interestingly, I'm a reservist. And when I was called out to assist, that's when we had probably the strongest dialogue between myself and the IAJ. I was out there seeing it myself, albeit in another capacity. Tremendous consultation, and I was on the ground, albeit in uniform, and I could give tidbits as to what I saw. And what I saw is, and I'm going to read something, but it's not my words, it's the IAJ's words. And if I showed you this email, it would have occurred either during Melissa itself or just after. I'm going to read something that Everton sent, and he copied members of his team. He said that, I confirm that the scale of the damage and losses due to Melissa is greater than the scale of uninsured damage and losses due to the high level of underinsurance and uninsurance. And he went into, this is a policy issue, because for there to be such a difference between the scale of the damage and the actual insured scale of the damage, it does indicate that our country's, the penetration rate for insurance, the level of uninsurance and underinsurance is something that he wants us to work together on. I told him, I will go as far as I can, but I have to just, he should know, being a former ED, that I have to protect myself from moral hazard. Because if I go out and say, okay, insure more, and then there's a negative impact, then my ability to then go and, for lack of a better word, punish, would be reduced, because I would be one of the proponents of this. So there's a policy aspect to it that I'm trying to work on whilst maintaining my stance as a regulator. But I understand, I was there, I see, and I'm a part of Jamaica, so I saw the issues, and I continue to see the issues, and I try to ensure that I am, even though I'm regulating, I'm a part of the solution on the other side as much as I can. Thank you.
Yeah. So, if I'm to understand you correctly, in a nutshell, it would be your opinion based on your experience and your positioning that the industry, you're not getting any pushback, so to speak. You, in relation to these fees, you anticipate, you have consulted, you're in the middle, you're in the mix, so you're not anticipating any pushback. Meaning when we leave here today, we don't see a headline that insurance industry laments increase in fees.
Has been the topic of headlines. I'm aware of headlines can go, so I can't say that won't happen. And I'll also be fair, right? There is never a good time to increase fees.
Okay.
It has not increased for 18 years, and I think a big part of it is that we have listened. When we have had hurricanes, I don't remember all the names, burial and so on, we listened and we pushed back. When we had We wanted to increase it, albeit I was not at the FSC at the time, so I'm taking up data before my time. Wanted to increase it during the COVID periods, and we listened and said, okay, we didn't increase it during that time. We were even making losses. So we have listened, but we have to increase fees. So I can't say that anybody in this world, if you increase my fees in my utilities, I'm going to have a pushback. Yeah. But I would say that broadly speaking, there's an understanding that within a crisis, and you can check this globally, the regulator increases the resources at its disposal. Because you note, and I'm going to be coy here, right? You note that when there's a financial stability issue, there is a contemplation of assistance for the industry players. On the side of the regulator, certainly in the Jamaican context, there's a realignment of leadership, if you can see what I'm saying. So you have a new leader at the head. So I think that for our own consistency in leadership, we tend to want to ensure that we have enough resources at our disposal.
And that, Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, and that leads me to another question. So how have you been able to cope with this deficit of, correct me if I'm wrong, 262.5 million? I think that was pointed out earlier as the operating deficit for the last period, last year, financial year, just to be safe.
When you're asked a question that you are prepared for, right? When your team has said, ensure you answer the question,
So you understand the question?
Yes.
With this deficit, how have you been able to fill the gap?
Yeah.
How have you been able to cope? Because I think it's an important question for the industry as well, for the industry, not only for the regulators, for the industry, as to provide some justification for your increase today, proposal or amendments for increase. Yes, sir.
Well, in summary, we have used our reserves. So we are making a loss. We are making a loss currently. The loss is not only due to one sector, of course, but we're making a loss of over 500 million. 200 odd comes from the insurance sector. So we have been using the reserves. And as you, even from a personal standpoint, tell me what happens when you're continuing to use your reserves and you don't have enough income. I think you can see the trajectory, but that's what's been happening in summary. So we have delayed, we have delayed IT systems, have delayed employment, and we have gone into the reserves. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, member. I want to welcome Member Morris to the meeting of the Regulations Committee. And before we continue, we would have skipped item 5 on the agenda. We now move back to item 5 for the confirmation. Member Morris, you are the only qualified person to do so. Turn on you.
Has it been read?
Well, it has been circulated, so I take it
yes.
that you.
I so do, Mr. Chairman.
Seconder, Member Williams. Seconded by Member Williams. All right, thanks much. I just have one question for Mr. Borrell. You spoke about underinsurance. Underinsurance, yes. Could you say what are the factors that would influence?
unfair question for a regulator, but I'll give a shot at it, right? But one is...
Right.
Firstly is probably the simplest one is if you think of your own personal circumstance where you own property. Property value is 100 million. But for me it's 10, but for you it's 100 million. And you have not done a revaluation in years because it's expensive. So you keep that value 100 million for 10 years, but the replacement cost is 300 million. So when there's a catastrophic event, you're expecting 300 million, but you're only insuring yourself for 100 million. So what will happen is that you'll get that something less than 100 million. So that is a big factor. Another one is just education on that matter. Are you aware that you need to do valuations so often and then increase your premiums in line with that? I think a third issue is just income. Is your salary or income moving at the same pace as your house? Probably not. So you do not have the ability to. And maybe a fourth one is culture. I'm seeing that more and more. Do we have a culture of having insurance, or is the culture to not? And I guess number 5 could be collaboration between all stakeholders. I find that regardless of the fact that if it's my fault or not, the FSC is put at the helm of most of these issues and say, okay, give me a solution. So maybe it's to have FSC, IAJ, and other players come out collaboratively and have a push for increased penetration. When I was at, I don't remember the insurance event, I had said that I would want to assist in doubling the penetration rate in Jamaica. It got applause, but I said assist rather than do it because, as I told you, I don't want a moral hazard. But I think these are some of the points that we could look at to improve going forward, bearing in mind that I have to maintain a stance as not to get involved to the point where there's moral hazard. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Member Morris. Do you have any comments or observation?
I may have, sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think I may have another question. In relation to the actual increases, are you able to say, well, what is the percentage increase, comparatively speaking, over the current rates? Yeah. It's based.
So what happened is that we can't say a percentage because that's not how it was done. So for the actual institutions, what we're looking at is a fairer assessment of how to charge fees because it was tiered, and looking globally and with research, we adjusted the tiered system to a system where it is not a flat rate for both general and life. And that would mean that the larger companies then, because the cap has been removed and there's no tier, you find that smaller companies might be paying less and the larger companies more. And in many cases, that's seen as fair because large companies are, one, look at size and look at complexity, right? And those are factors that assist in regulatory effort, right? So, and as it concerns the other fees, what happened is that we consulted. And in the consultation period, what came to the fore, and as I told you, it's not like these are people I know. They would have said, okay, Karen, this is a process. We have moved in size by 6 times. You can't increase the fees by 6 times. Okay. Let's use an incremental approach to the whole thing. So we said, okay, give me your viewpoint. And we had a trade-off, right? I said, okay, in this round, if you even look at how low the renewal fees are, issues of, Karen, you have persons who come into the sector, and if you would increase it to the true economic value, I think some fees renewal are as low as $1,000. So the insurance salespersons I don't want to say it like this, but for persons who are unemployed, right, who want to get into a new industry and it's easier than others, the industry didn't want us to create a barrier, and the industry allows that kind of a move in and out for persons. So I would say that I'm not able to give a broad figure, but by the same token you indicated, which is consultation, we had discussions and trade-offs and said, okay, this is what we'll do. And we even said at the end of it, in the next round, and I was fearful because bearing in mind that the last round was 18 years ago. All right, in the next round, I'll be hopefully, happily, I'm retired by then, but in the next round, let's place one foot forward, and then whoever takes over would put that other foot. So if that kind of gives you, the context is what you said, consultation and trade-offs. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm looking at thank you very much, sir. I'm looking at page 2 of the document before me, which is captioned the 20th schedule, fees in Jamaica. Do you have that page? Page 2, 20th schedule. So these rates here, just correct me if I'm wrong, these are the proposed rates for example, registration. Correct? These are the proposed new rates. Yes. So, would you be in a position to, for example, highlight, some examples here of increases, and give us a comparative approach?
Sure, I'll ask Aisha to assist me in that regard.
Yeah, thank you. So it's just for clarity for us, so we can have a fuller understanding of whether we should ask you to increase it some more.
Okay, all right. So, for example, the proposed fee for, let me take one of them, liability, or let me take marine, aviation, and transport for general insurance. So what you are seeing now for your registration is 100,000. The current fee for it is 50,000. So it's going up by 50,000. Right. But when you take the nominal value, you will see that it's really not that much. All right, so let me show you another one. If you go across, yes, it's an annual fee. Yes, proposed fee, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so let me take you now to the broker. All right, so currently fee is $7,000 and it's going up to $9,100. All right. You're welcome.
All right. Any comment from Member Morris? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you very much.
It's my parting shot, if I may, Chair. And that is, after 18 years operating on a, tight operating budget or expenses, and now having dipped into reserves, it is my view, Mr. Chair, that the increases are warranted at this juncture. My only concern is that we are coming off, we have just passed through one of the most devastating weather event to have hit Jamaica. And we know in these circumstances, persons are resistant to increases. But
so the timing, that is a concern. But having listened to the presentation, and if you're operating at a loss of 250 million to cover your operating expenses, then an increase of some type is justified. Thank you very much.
Members, I want to say to the committee and to our members from the FSC and the Ministry of Finance that the committee has no objection to the members. Are there any objections? Any objections? No. Right. The committee has no objection to the amendments to the schedule presented here today. Therefore, we want to thank you for your presence here and wish for you a safe journey.
Chairman and committee, appreciated.
Thank you. All right, so once again, I want to thank the members and the officers who present here today. We now move to item 8. Is any other business? There is no other business. The date of our next meeting, we'll set that according to the request from the House of Representatives. For the adjournment, moved by Member Williams, seconded by Member Morris. Thanks again. This meeting now stands adjourned.
BGLC, the regulatory body. We regulate, you play without worry. We regulate, you play. BGLC, fair play when you play. For the fun of the game, you know we're there. BGLC, keep it fair for the player. You play the game and we are the rules setter. Keep everything fair so the game play better. The Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission. We ensure fairness, integrity and responsible gaming practices. Keep the game fair and fun for everyone. We regulate, you play.